All right, so this Netflix Christmas movie, Hot Frosty, is making some waves, and we wanted to take a deep dive into it. We've got a whole stack of reviews here,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people seem to either love it or hate it.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Some critics are calling it mindless fluff, but then others are finding like genuine charm in it and even like unexpected depth.
Right.
It's like a litmus test for how you like your holiday movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just to set the scene for our listeners, Lacey Chabert, I mean, she's like the queen of Hallmark Christmas movies, right?
Yeah.
She plays Kathy, this recent widow who runs her family's diner in, a charming small town.
Yeah.
It's Christmas time, and she's still kind of grappling with the loss of her husband.
Yeah, and during the town's like festive ice sculpting competition, Kathy stumbles upon this
Oh, yeah.
remarkably well-defined snow sculpture.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a snowman, but the artist took some like creative liberties.
Right. They definitely played up the anatomy on that one.
Yeah.
And
This is where the magic happens. Kathy throws this magical scarf around the snowman's neck and bam, he springs to life as Jack. And Jack is played by none other than Dustin Milligan.
Dustin Milligan.
Yeah, you might recognize him as like sweet sweater-loving Ted from Schitt's Creek.
Oh, yeah.
But he's definitely not in Schitt's Creek anymore.
He is not. The reviewers definitely took note of his transformation, shall we say.
Right.
He's trading in the cozy sweaters for, well, a lot less.
Yeah, I mean, he is a snowman.
He's a snowman. Got to keep it PG.
Yeah, it's interesting, though. Even the critics who are finding the movie predictable can't help but comment on Milligan's physique.
Right.
It seems to be like a major talking point for people.
Yeah, I think it's a draw for some viewers, for sure.
Yeah.
But to be fair to Milligan, his performance does go beyond just looks. He actually manages to play Jack with this, like, sweet, innocent charm
Right.
that makes the whole thing kind of endearing.
It's very endearing. He plays it like he's this curious child discovering the world for the first time, which adds a layer of humor.
Oh, totally.
And even some pathos to the character.
Yeah. And the movie really leans into that whole fish out of water thing.
Oh, but yeah.
Early on, we see him streaking through town, stealing clothes because he doesn't understand why people wear clothes.
Right.
He has to, like, learn everything from scratch. And it's, it's played for laughs.
It's very funny, and I think some reviewers found those scenes to be genuinely funny, and they praised the film's self-awareness
Okay.
and like the willingness to embrace just how absurd the whole premise is.
I mean, and get this. They never explain where Jack comes from.
No.
Or why the scarf has magical powers.
Yeah.
It just throws you right into the story.
Right into it.
And everyone's just like, okay, a magical snowman, cool, moving on.
Exactly. And it somehow works. I actually think that's kind of a bold choice. Most movies would feel the need to explain the magic.
Totally, give it some origin story.
Yeah, but Hot Frosty just goes with it.
And it works.
Yeah, it's refreshing.
So let's talk about the supporting cast for a second.
Okay.
You've got Craig Robinson as the skeptical sheriff.
Yeah.
And then Joe Lo Truglio is his kind of clueless, it's like a mini Brooklyn Nine-Nine reunion.
I love those two together.
Me too. And they're not just cameos either. They actually have substantial roles.
They do.
And a lot of the reviewers felt like they really elevated the material.
I think they did. They brought their comedic timing and their chemistry to the film.
Yeah. And I think that added a layer of humor that went beyond just the silly premise,
Hold it.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Okay. So beyond the silliness, some critics actually noticed these like kind of poignant themes at play.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Like, for example, Kathy's grief over losing her husband is like a recurring thing throughout the movie.
Right.
And Jack, in his own innocent way, actually helps her to heal and move forward.
That's a great point. It's not just a goofy romance. It actually explores these themes of loss and healing.
Right.
And the power of human connection. One reviewer even compared it to The Night Before Christmas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, remember that Netflix holiday movie that surprised people with how emotional it got?
I do, yeah.
This is kind of similar.
And it's not just about romantic love either,
No.
The movie also highlights how important community is, like the way small towns really rally around each other when people need help.
Totally.
And the whole town embraces Jack, even though he's,
A magical snowman.
yeah, a magical snowman. It's really heartwarming.
It is.
Okay, so we've talked about heartwarming themes. We've talked about Dustin Milligan's physique,
Yeah.
which, let's be real, the movie does not shy away from.
No, they do not.
But some reviewers couldn't help but point out the flaws.
No.
One even said, this will only rise above your expectations if you keep them well below freezing.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Some real zingers in these reviews. Another critic called the supporting cast the film's saving grace, if it can be so called.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, some people thought the premise was too outlandish,
Right.
or that the humor was predictable.
So that leads us to the big question.
The big question.
Is Hot Frosty actually good?
Or is it just another cheesy holiday flick that's going to melt away, you know?
To answer that, we really need to look at what the critics are saying, the good and the bad.
Yeah, break it all down and see what we have.
Exactly.
And that's where the reviews get really interesting, because there's this clear divide between the people who found it predictable and formulaic
Okay.
and the people who were like pleasantly surprised by its charm and its heart.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's delve into these contrasting perspectives a little bit.
All right, let's do it.
So on one hand, you have the critics who felt like Hot Frosty really stuck to like a predictable formula.
Okay.
They called out all the familiar elements you see in a Hallmark Christmas movie, you know, like small town charm,
Right.
a touch of magic,
Of course.
and a heartwarming romance.
Yeah.
They thought the plot was a little thin,
Okay.
and the humor was relying on like well-worn tropes.
Right? Some even called it a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Like, it's enjoyable enough for, like, a mindless holiday watch, but, you know,
Yeah.
nothing groundbreaking.
Right. One reviewer even said it felt like watching Christmas Mad Libs. You know, like all the right words, just in all the expected places.
But then on the other hand,
Yes.
you have these other critics who are, like, unexpectedly charmed by Hot Frosty.
Yes.
They acknowledged that it was predictable,
Yeah.
but they really appreciated how it was done.
Yeah.
You know,
They liked the execution.
they did, and they praised the performances,
Uh,
especially Milligan's ability to bring, like, genuine sweetness to a character that could have been really cheesy.
right. Because it's a tricky role to play.
Oh, totally.
You know, you could easily go over the top with it.
Yeah.
But he brings this like sincerity to it.
He does.
That really works.
Yeah. One reviewer even called it spectacular and suggested Netflix make it into a whole franchise.
Really?
I know they even brainstormed titles for the sequels like Under the Mistletoe with My Elf
Wow.
and Frosted with Love. It's pretty amazing.
That's commitment.
It is.
But what's fascinating is that like both sides seem to agree that the film's self-awareness is a big part of its appeal.
Okay.
Like the movie knows it's silly. And it's winking at the audience and kind of inviting them to laugh along with it.
It's like they're saying, we know this is ridiculous,
Yeah,
but let's just have fun with it.
exactly. And sometimes that's all you need from a holiday movie, right?
Yeah.
Just a little escape from reality.
A sprinkle of magic, a dash of romance.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the snowman in the room,
Okay.
Milligan's physique,
Yes.
and like many reviewers could not stop talking about it.
Right. It seemed to be a big focus for people.
It was, some found it humorous, some found it distracting. One even called it a gift to thirsty viewers everywhere.
Oh my.
I mean, there's that scene where he's hanging Christmas lights shirtless
Yeah.
and like a group of women accidentally crashed their car nearby.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
The movie knows what it's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's the scene with the town doctor played by Wendy Malick,
Oh, yeah.
who insists on giving Jack a full checkup.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, the double entendres are flying.
They are not subtle.
No, they are not.
One reviewer even said that this whole focus on Jack's body, you know, combined with his innocence and his devotion to Kathy, it taps into a certain fantasy
Okay.
for a lot of viewers.
Like what kind of fantasy?
Well, like, it's the idea of the perfect partner stripped of all the complexities and baggage that come with real relationships.
Oh, okay.
You know, someone who's literally molded to be their ideal.
So it's like a fantasy of like a blank slate.
Exactly. And physically perfect, of course.
Of course, because he is sculpted.
And let's be real, who wouldn't want a partner who's sculpted from snow, completely devoted, and can fix anything around the house just by watching a YouTube tutorial?
That's true. I mean, he is very handy.
It's the ultimate male fantasy, but flipped on its head.
I like that.
One reviewer also had this interesting thought about the whole, like, sentient object romance trope that the movie uses.
Okay.
And they said that it allows the movie to present this, like, male character who's totally free of any, like, traditional patriarchal baggage.
Oh, and you.
Yeah, like, Jack is innocent and kind and totally devoted to Kathy. He's not driven by ego or ambition, you know?
No, he's just pure of heart.
Exactly. He just wants to learn and grow and love.
So it's like an alternative vision of masculinity.
Right, like one that's more in tune with empathy and vulnerability and emotional intelligence.
Interesting take.
But let's not get too deep here.
Okay.
This is still a movie about a woman who falls in love with a magical snowman.
A magical snowman.
Exactly. So is it good?
That is the question.
It is. And like always, the answer is
It's objective.
it depends on what you're looking for.
Exactly. What are your expectations going?
If you want a groundbreaking masterpiece, well, you'll probably be disappointed.
Yeah.
But if you want some lighthearted fun, a little magic, a little eye candy,
Why not?
hot Frosty,
Mm-hmm.
might just be the perfect thing. One reviewer even called it comfort food for the soul.
I can see that.
There's one review I found really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It highlighted this deeper emotional layer that I don't think we've really talked about yet.
Yeah. Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So this reviewer pointed out how the film kind of subtly addresses Kathy's grief over losing her husband.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know, it's not just a simple love story.
Right.
It's about a woman rediscovering herself and finding joy again after going through something really hard.
That's really insightful. I like that take on it.
And it's not just about romantic love, like we said before. The movie also really emphasizes community and support.
Yes. The way the whole town rallies around Jack.
It's really heartwarming.
It is. It speaks to that human need for connection.
Okay, so we've talked about the plot, the performances, the reviews, even the thirst levels.
All the important stuff.
All the important stuff. But there's one question we haven't really answered.
And that is?
Should you, our listener, add Hot Frosty to your holiday movie marathon?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And like, always the answer depends on what you're looking for in a holiday movie.
Exactly. I mean, if you're looking for a film that's going to challenge you intellectually or like redefine cinema,
Yeah.
Hot Frosty is probably not going to be at the top of any best of lists.
Probably not.
But
if you're just looking for like a lighthearted escape from holiday stress, a
Right.
film that'll make you laugh and tug at your heartstrings a little bit,
right.
and maybe even leave you with a newfound appreciation for Dustin Milligan's commitment to his craft.
You mean his commitment to the gym?
Yeah, that too. Then Hot Frosty might be the perfect choice.
Yep.
It's a film that knows it's silly and just wants you to have a good time.
And sometimes that's all you need.
Exactly.
One reviewer even suggested that Hot Frosty is like a clever commentary on modern masculinity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it presents this idealized male figure who's like completely free of toxic traits.
That's interesting. I mean, it does kind of flip the script on that whole like manly man stereotype.
Right, and it's all wrapped up in this like cheesy Christmas package.
Exactly. Maybe we're overthinking it.
Maybe.
But if a movie about a hunky snowman can make people think about these things, then maybe it's achieved something special.
Yeah, there's no denying that it's got people talking.
It really does. People seem to either love it or hate it.
There's not a lot of middle ground.
No, not really. And I think that's part of what makes it so interesting.
Right. It pushes boundaries.
It does.
It challenges expectations, and it really leaves it up to the viewer to decide.
Yeah, whether it's a delightful surprise
Or a total lump of coal.
So to sum it all up, Hot Frosty is a cheesy, predictable, and absurdly charming Christmas romance.
With a surprisingly heartwarming message.
Yes, and enough eye candy to keep everyone happy.
And if that's not a recipe for holiday success, I don't know what is.
I think you've nailed it.
One last thought for our listeners before we wrap up. Several reviewers compared Hot Frosty to Elf.
Oh, interesting.
Some people think it has the potential to become a classic.
Like a new holiday tradition?
Exactly. But others disagreed. So we want to know what you think. What makes a holiday movie truly timeless? Is it the humor, the heart, the memorable characters, or maybe just the sheer absurdity of it all?
That's a good question.
Let us know your thoughts, and happy holidays, everyone.